Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back. We are going to start off, as usual, with the 500 millibar chart, or our upper air chart, and we still have a very strong low-pressure system off to our northeast with a very large trough associated with it. As we go through this afternoon, we do see that we start to have a bit of a ridge developing on the backside of this trough, way to our west. And as we go through tonight and into tomorrow morning, something, and especially into tomorrow afternoon, something does catch my eye. There's kind of like a secondary trough inside the trough here. It's not super obvious at the 500 millibar level. We do have a jet streak that is associated with that, and we may kind of around tomorrow evening find ourselves kind of near the left exit region of that. But the main thing to be thinking about here is that there is a secondary little forced, ascent region in there, and there is some northwest flow coming over the lakes. As we go down, as we go down to a lower level of the atmosphere, we can see that feature a little more clearly. You can kind of see that secondary, smaller trough feature kind of along this axis where my mouse is moving here, that develops this evening and actually moves through this evening and overnight tonight. And that whole system actually brings the major low pressure system from, just a couple days ago, and actually hooks it back a little bit west to our north. And you can still kind of see a little bit of a kink in there. Now, what exactly does that mean for us? Well, let's go to the surface. First thing it's going to mean is that there's going to be more cold air coming in behind after it passes through. So it's going to get pretty cold. And the second thing it means, and let's zoom in here. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm doing some dog sitting right now, and I keep getting distracted by the dogs. They're quite an energetic bunch. So what was I saying? Something about, the precipitation. So as that low pressure system and that associated mini trough comes in tonight, and mainly overnight, or mostly, pretty much entirely overnight tonight, we get more snow. Mostly lake effect, although it looks like maybe there's a little bit driven from that ascent from the trough there, but mostly lake effect as we get that northwest flow over the Great Lakes, Lake Michigan there in particular. Although you do see some up in Lake Superior in the Upper Peninsula as well, and even a little bit some off of Lake Huron and Erie down here too. But for us, it's mainly going to be from Lake Michigan. Now, how much snow is supposed to fall? Well, turns out we're looking at a couple more inches. If we come here to the winter tab, take a look at the mean 24-hour snowfall, and kind of go here. We are looking at 2 inches in this moderate shade of blue. This darker shade by the lakes of blue is 4 to 6, and this kind of blue is like 2 to 4. Now, how does that stack up with official forecasts from the National Weather Service? Well, it turns out it stacks up pretty well. Excuse me. This is the experimental probabilistic snowfall forecast, and it puts the Lansing area here at 2 to 3 inches. And if we look at the low-end scenario, so there's a 90% chance we get this amount of snow or more, that we're still getting at least an inch. And if we look at the high-end amount, where we only have a 10% chance of getting that amount of snowfall or more, we are in the 3-inch range, getting pretty close to the 4-inch. So that looks pretty good forecast. So with that being, said, I think I am fairly comfortable saying that we should expect around 2 inches tonight, and we should not be getting more than 4. I think 4 is the high-end amount. So, of course, it's definitely possible that we get up to 3, also possible that we only get 1 or so, but I'm thinking we are probably going to be around the 2-inch mark, maybe close to 3, but again, probably closer to the 2-inch mark. Now, speaking of snow, we did get a fair bit of snow last night and yesterday. Yesterday, I mean, not last night. Was it yet? I don't remember anymore. Yes, it fell through yesterday because I shoveled the driveway with my dad. It was mostly yesterday. Right. Yes. Yeah, it was a fair bit of snow. I think we probably had a couple inches. So I think that forecast, I think we actually ended up on the higher end of the previous snowfall forecast. Just something to keep in mind. Anyway, temperature. It looks like our high today is going to be pretty stable. The temperature is just going to remain stable in the lower 20s. And even through tonight, it looks like it is going to remain stable, again, through the lower 20s. As we head into tomorrow morning, and even tomorrow morning right here, we actually get somewhat close to the mid to upper 20s, so maybe it warms up ever so slightly before that secondary, we really start to feel the influence from the cold air behind that secondary low pressure system trough, and the temperature just takes a plunge. The temperature will start taking a plunge, this is 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, kind of around early afternoon tomorrow. And by the evening, 8 p.m., we're already looking to be, in the in the mid-teens. And temperatures may drop below 10 degrees as we, just after midnight, and into Thursday morning. So Wednesday night and Thursday morning, the temperatures are going to drop potentially into the single digits. Now let's take a look at something I realize I've neglected to look at the last few days, mainly because there wasn't a point with all of the precipitation. But cloud cover. Again, if you're new, the colors represent different heights of clouds. So the blue is low-level clouds, green mid-level, and the red is upper level. And it looks like through to the day today, it's going to remain cloudy. Yeah. Maybe right here we see some brief breaks of sunshine kind of around the early morning 8 a.m., 9 a.m. time frame, but then it gets cloudy again. But look at that. We are actually expecting some clearing late evening tomorrow evening, and overnight, around the time it's getting cold. In fact, it almost looks like you can kind of see that cold front on the cloud cover map. That's pretty interesting. Of course, it's going to be dark at that point, so it's more of moonshine instead of sunshine, but it might not be cloudy. That's kind of rare for winter in Michigan. Well, last thing is let's take a quick little look at our wind. So this is the hourly maximum wind averaged across the models. So this is going to be on the higher end of what's expected. I think the real sustained winds are probably going to be 10 mile per hour lower than what is shown here. And through the day today, it looks relatively calm. Maybe you have some 10 mile an hour sustained winds. It kind of calms down overnight. Picks back up a little bit as we head into tomorrow afternoon. Looks to be the peak into tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow evening. Probably as that cold front's coming through is what would make sense to me. And at that peak, we're still probably looking at 15 or so mile per hour sustained winds. Let's take a look at wind gusts. This is the mean wind gusts. So through today, we're looking at around 15 mile per hour range. Tonight, maybe we calm down a little bit into the 10 to 15 wind gust range. And then tomorrow, with the cold air surging through, maybe we get up close to the 30 mark when it comes to wind gusts, 30 miles per hour. But of course, afterwards, it starts to subside again. So overall, it doesn't look like wind is going to be too much of an issue, especially at least not compared to the last few days. Anyway, that is it for today. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you tomorrow.